Are you trying to figure out whether you should flip Pokemon cards for quick cash or hold on to them for long term gains? It's one of the biggest questions in the Pokemon card investment world. Today, we're going to break down the pros and cons of long term investing versus short term flipping and help you decide which strategy may be right for you. All right, everybody, I'm Andy with Northwoods TCG, and today we're going to break down the pros and cons between short term investing and short term flipping to decide which might be best for you in the current Pokemon market. Once again, this is a preference for what you'd like to do or what you think will be best for you overall, but I'm going to give you the pros and cons of both so that you can make a well educated decision on what you should be doing for yourself. So here we go, we're going to go into it right now. So let's start with long-term investing. This strategy focuses on holding on to rare, iconic, and historically significant cards for years, sometimes even decades. That also goes for sealed product, booster boxes, ETBs, ultra premium collection boxes, etc. are also items that you may have to hold on to for years or decades if you're in the mindset of long-term investing. The idea here is simple. Pokemon cards tend to appreciate in value over time, especially cards from older sets, limited releases, and those tied to major events in Pokemon history. For example, vintage cards like first edition Charizard or trophy cards are legendary because they're scarce, nostalgic, and highly sought after. Their value has increased steadily for years, and they're seen as the blue chip investments in the hobby. When you think of long-term investment with success, you usually go to these particular items. You can throw in booster boxes like first edition base set booster boxes. You can go ahead and say XY booster boxes, team up booster boxes are now falling into that. There's a lot of different booster boxes in that sealed market, along with some ETBs too, going all the way back to black and white when we got our first versions of those particular sets. So once again, we do see some really good blue chip investments that if you would have been in, or if you do continue to be in them now, we're continuing to see really great and continuous growth on them. So here's some things I want to highlight for you guys. Focus on scarcity or historically significant when you're looking at products or cards. Base set, trophy cards, Japanese promos now are doing extremely well. Also looking at booster box sets like Team Up, XY sets that are getting harder and harder to find, going all the way back into base set, Team Rocket, and that. Overall, they've been doing extremely well, and I believe that they will continue to do well futuristically. Also, rely on graded cards for maximum long-term value. We have seen time and time again that PSA cards, even though I'm not a huge fan of grading with PSA, that still PSA 10 cards have very good value increases over time. The fact that it has a PSA 10 gives it the reliability that it will be more potential for great growth and less potential of failure on that. If you go to like a PSA 9 or an 8, you may see some loss of value or not the gains that we are currently seeing in the PSA 10 market. And also, be patient. Think of it as Pokemon 401k. You don't see gains overnight, but the growth is consistent. That's the major factor when you're looking at it. We can sit here and look from day to day, week to week, month to month. You may not see huge gains on these particular products, but if you were to take some of the products that are 5, 10, 15 years old, you can see substantial gains on those particular products, even out of regular markets. So once again, being patient with your Pokemon investments, especially if you're going with the long term, is definitely going to be something to consider when you're looking at what you could get over a long period of time on these investments. All right, now let's talk about short term flipping. This strategy is all about speed. You buy cards or sealed products, wait for the right moment, usually very shortly after that, like a market surge or hype surrounding that new set, and you sell quickly into that market to make your profit. For example, when a new set like Surging Sparks drops, there's a frenzy around the chase card like the Pikachu SIR. During this window, prices are at their peak because demand outweighs supply. Flipping during this time can result in quick profits, but you need to act fast because the value of these cards often drops as more enter the market and very quickly. So once again, it's speed driven. You're trying to get that speed. You're trying to get that out there as quick as possible to maximize your profit when it comes down to that short-term flip. Sometimes we buy products that you think is going to go up rather quickly, or you see a demand in the market, knowing, especially in the Pokemon TCG, that a reprint could be looming just over the next horizon. So make sure you take that in consideration when you're looking at these short-term flips. The longer that you hold on to them, the more likely that you are to start going backwards on that investment, and you want to get out of it very quickly. So for Pokemon investment in that short-term flipping, be sure that you understand that you are going fast. Everything is fast paced, everything is moving quickly, and that's a big consideration when you're into it. Here's some key points that we need to be looking at. Works best with modern chase cards or limited type hype. For example, Surging Sparks coming out. New card comes out. We've seen that Pikachu go all the way up to $750 and slowly retrace as more of them enter into the market. A lot of times, pulling these cards even out of pre-release tournaments or buying them at pre-release tournaments can give you an opportunity to jump in and get that hype while it's first coming out on these particular sets. Timing is critical. Selling during the peak demand period is the key. Waiting longer could reduce your profits or potentially make you have a loss. So knowing when the timing is correct is going to be the crucial parts of being into the short-term flipping. Beware of market saturation driving the prices down. Once again, more come into the market, it starts to overweigh the amount of demand, and we do see a drop in prices. It happens quite a bit on most, if not all, modern release sets as they come out. The chase is hot, the chase is a frenzy, but as more and more get pulled, the market gets saturated, and the price continues to drop, and where you could miss your opportunity to get out. All right, both strategies have their benefits and challenges. Let's compare them side by side. We're going to go ahead and put this up here. You're going to see the pros first. So we're going to go with the long-term pros, which is going to be stable growth, less risk, potential for massive gains on vintage or rare cards, and also inside of booster boxes and sealed product. Some of the pros for quick flipping: you get quick cash and lower initial investment, and you can capitalize on hype. There's some cons now for long-term investing. Requires patience and capital. Tying up funds means you can't cash out quickly. That's probably one of the biggest downsides of long-term investing. If you're going with a long-term investment, you are going to have money tied up for potentially a very long time without any use of that particular capital. Cons of short term: riskier, requires consistent market monitoring, and profits are smaller unless you're flipping in bulk. So once again, you can have a smaller initial investment, but you're not going to see a huge turnaround, because in quick flipping, unless you have volume, sometimes you're not going to be able to get huge profits. So that's a downside as well. If you're going to go for long term, sometimes a decent capital investment there could turn out big in the long term. So how do you decide? Well, it depends on your goals. If you're looking to build wealth over time and don't mind waiting, long-term investing is for you. If you don't mind putting a large amount of capital on the shelf and just waiting for 20, 30 years, you're going to do all right. I think all the products in the Pokemon TCG have very, very good value to do that, as long as you have the patience. But if you want quick cash and enjoy the thrill of flipping cards, the short-term strategy might be your thing. Let's be 100% honest. If you like the thrill of trying to get that chase card and then turn that chase card into profit, if you like sending out for grading and trying to take raw cards and grade them and quickly turn them around for profit so you can continue to do it, that is definitely a great way to do it. But I'm going to tell you my way of doing it, which is going to be honestly a hybrid approach that can work also. Investing in long-term cards while flipping modern ones is a great way to keep cash flow. It's exactly what I talk about here on the channel quite a bit. I purchase cases of booster boxes and I put them away. But then I also buy more of those booster boxes with the intent of selling them to make profit to keep my capital moving. I'm not tying up capital in the shelves for years and years. I'm taking my investment and I'm taking it into a quick flip strategy with long-term hold by taking it and buying 4 of something, selling 3 of them with the profit covering the one on the shelf. So basically, the one on the shelf is almost always free, which is a fantastic way to try and continue to do that. That's that hybrid approach. I take singles and I flip them for grading, and we sell the graded cards for profit. We do bulk, we rip through bulk, and we try and sell bulk to get profit. Those are those quick term flips that sometimes are only available in the short term, and they go away very quickly, especially when you're talking about bulk. When it goes down to playable cards, a card that's playable this week may not be playable next week. Same thing with graded. A card that's doing really, really hot and accelerating really quickly could also get saturated and start to come down in price very quickly in the time that you're waiting for a card to come back from PSA. So there's always risk and rewards in everything that we're doing. But when you're looking at it, I have a hybrid approach when it comes down to it. I hold back some product for that long-term investment while continuing to work these short-term flips that are available in the market with the hype and FOMO of modern sets. Definitely not a bad strategy to be using in the market if you want growth with the actual feeling that you're investing into something for that Pokemon 401k investment that we've been talking about and putting that away for that long term. All right, and that's the breakdown of Pokemon card investment strategies. Which one do you prefer, long-term investing or short-term flipping? Let me know in the comments down below. I always like to hear where your guys' position is. And if you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Pokemon card tips and strategies. Thank you guys for watching. Happy collecting, and we hope to see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.